Sean Diddy Combs' sons, Justin and Christian, are teasing.
What's up, family? We in here. I was hoping to get live a little bit more sooner, but shout out to the few people I have in the chat, and I hope everyone is having a good New Year's holiday, and if you're celebrating the holiday, make sure you stay safe, you know what I mean? If you're gonna be out, drinking this, that, and the other, make sure you got a ride, lined up, a Uber, this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? Because just make sure you staying safe out there in all actuality. It's my day off, and last for the last holiday for Christmas, I wanted to go live, but really wasn't feeling up to it. So I'm like, let me go live for the holiday. Just pop up on the family and put out a impromptu live. I was hoping to get live a little bit more earlier, but I was having a little bit of technical difficulties on my end. So yeah, hopefully, all of the family is doing well, staying safe, and they got a flu bug going around in my area. So hopefully everyone, ain't getting sick, coming down with the flu, colds or whatnot, you know what I mean? A little secret I use, family, something I keep in my tool bag to avoid getting colds is I chew on a piece of garlic, first thing in the morning, you know what I mean? And then, brush my teeth, of course, because garlic lets off that smell, but garlic, that protects you from getting cold, it got like a lot of benefits. It's a blood purifier, and it protects your immune system. So get up on that garlic, family, especially around this time because it's cold out. You know what I mean? People getting sick, cold and flus is going around. People are spreading them, so you want to protect your health. So yeah, family, I don't want to be on here too long. So I see I got, 6 people in the room. Shout out to those 6 people I got in the room. We're going to get right into it. I got a few stories I want to touch on, but first I want to touch on they putting out P. Diddy's sons is now coming out with a documentary, Christian and Justin, you know what I mean? To, bring, balance to this thing, because let's be honest, 50's documentary, 50 ain't nothing but a buck dancing coon and a sellout in my book. And his, so-called documentary on our brother P. Diddy was biased, you know what I mean? Because, he he don't like our brother Diddy. He just put out the documentary, to put dirt on our brother's name, to dirty up his reputation, this, that, and the other, and his sons, Diddy's sons, on the other hand, I believe they'll bring, more so of a balance, you know what I mean, and bring who Diddy's real character is into the public lexicon and things like that. Shout out to the family, we DAPP 5248. FBA all day, family. You already know. Yeah, so I believe he would, bring a little, his son to bring a little bit more balance to, just who Diddy's character is, you know what I mean? Without the bias of, sell out buck dancing coons like 50 Cent, you know what I mean? So the Zeus Network and Christian and Justin is putting out this documentary on Diddy. So I believe it'll, bring out more of Diddy's character and, his goodwill, that he just ain't some monster, how that Netflix documentary was trying to, push and pump out there, working with 50 Cent, put out that false narrative on our brother. So I got the audio and the video of Diddy's 2 sons, Christian and Justin, putting out their documentary, which would be airing sometime in 2026 on the Zeus Network. And I'm going to be tapped into that because I think it'd be more of a, a fair documentary, to where, though, you just ain't got people up there, with a negative affinity toward Diddy, so they trying to, dirty and tarnish his rep. So let's get into it, family. Fair use.
Sean Diddy Combs' sons, Justin and Christian, are teasing a new docuseries about their family. Justin and Christian King Combs appear in a new trailer released December 28th to Instagram by Zeus Network's founder. In the trailer, Justin and Christian sit on a couch in a screening room while a series of headlines about their father cycle on screen. At the end of the trailer, Justin's phone vibrates and he answers a collect call from the Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institute, where Combs is currently behind bars. No release date for the docuseries is given, though the teaser says viewers can expect it at some point in 2026.
Shout out to the FBA family in Oakland. And shout out to my brother Dave Grease, who says, peace, B1, FBA B1, salute family.
Combs shares Justin with ex-Misa Hilton and Christian with the late Kim Porter. The rapper is also dad to 34-year-old son Quincy and daughters Chance, 19, twins Delilah and Jesse, also 19, and Love, who is 3 years old. Combs was transferred to Fort Dix from the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York in late October after he was sentenced to 50 months in prison on prostitution-related convictions. He is slated to be...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this documentary, though, family, with an unbiased, take from Diddy's two sons because, let's be honest, Diddy wasn't guilty of nothing but, being a black man in the system of racism, white supremacy, you know what I mean? Because the bulk of Diddy's problems came when he sued that big wig liquor company for, racism. Then they tried to, throw everything they could at him, in hopes of, finessing his bag out from under him, you know what I mean? And you had people that, the documentary 50s coon behind it. It just had people that had a negative, negative things to say about Diddy, you know what I mean? That had past dealings with him. They might not have liked how the dealings, went down. And it was just biased to me, and 50 himself, coon behind didn't like Diddy because Diddy stole his girl right out from under him. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this will be a more balanced documentary, I feel. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one.
Released on June 4th, 2028, according to Federal Bureau of Prisons records obtained by E! News.
Yeah, family. So be on the lookout for that. They ain't saying exactly when it's hitting, but sometime in 2026, I believe it should be coming out on the Zeus network. But moving right along, I got to hit y'all every now and then with those Tether Radio bangers, I got two songs I want to, show to y'all. I got to hop over there on TikTok from our, brother over there at Tether Radio. That's a FBA station. He said he employs, foundational Black Americans, and they put out, original, content exposing music, content exposing Tethers, what's going on, from Tethers in political office trying to undermine our reparations to cosplaying Tethers in general, so yeah, I'm gonna be sharing some of our brothers' music over there at Tether Radio. So let me make the transfer, family, over here to TikTok. Bear with me for 1 second, because I want to show y'all the brother Tether Radio's new bangers he put out over there. I hate TikTok though, because it throws you right into the pool of videos.
In 2026, FBA, let's go twice as hard. I quit TikTok every week, right there. But I just realized that it's something that it's a passion. I've been doing it my whole life. And since I can't retire.
Bear with me, family. TikTok just throws you in the queue. That's one thing I don't like about TikTok. It don't let you just go to where you want to go to. So yeah, family, like I said, I'm going to be showing y'all these Tether Radio bangers. You know what I mean? They got constant bangers they put out, authentic music exposing the Tethers in political office, cosplaying Tethers in the music industry, but on this one, they giving a shout out to the father of the delineation movement, our good brother, Dr. Claude Anderson, our elder. He been telling us to delineate for years, that other folks were trying to undermine us, ain't no power in being, generic African Americans. He first coined the term, and that's kind of where the FBA, that name for our lineage, came about was through our brother Dr. Claude Anderson. He first was, saying native blacks, but some problems were happening with that native black thing to where though it was getting confused with Native Americans. So we just made the language a little the language regarding our foundational Black American lineage a little bit more tightly codified with the foundational Black American. But Brother Claude Anderson, was a ground breaker, you know what I mean, who was standing on lineage business. Truth be told, before, a lot of people were standing on lineage business. He was telling us, how to get on code, keep our money in our community, patronize Black businesses first and foremost, you know what I mean? Because other people don't got our best interests in mind. And one thing in particular I remember about our brother, Dr. Claude Anderson, um, I was watching an interview with him, some time ago, and he was speaking that when he was in the seafood business, you know what I mean? Dealing in fish and, shrimp and things like this, that and the other, crabs. He was trying to sell some. It was some shrimp to the Asians, and he was giving them a better deal than they suppliers. But something that the Asians said, was that they stick with their own people first and foremost. You know what I mean? So that always, resonated with me. That we got to do business with our own people first and foremost. Because Dr. Claude Anderson said, I'll give you a better price on this shrimp than what you're getting it for. They was like, nah, we get it from our people, our fellow Asians, and we don't go outside of our community. So this is how we as foundational Black Americans got to operate. And our brother Claude Anderson was putting us up on this game, years ago. In the 90s, he was telling us to delineate and get on code based off of lineage and call ourselves native Black. But now, better late than never, we got on this lineage lingo, we've delineated, and we're making all kind of positive strides that being generic Africans just couldn't offer, because we were just calling ourselves African American, and that was just getting chalked up in the air to Africanness. So anybody, coming over from the continent of Africa could piggyback off of our achievements and success and get, resources and aid based off of being African American when they should have been going to foundational Black Americans, not some, being chalked up in the air to generic Africanness. So let's get into, this Dr. Claude Anderson song put out by the brothers and sisters over there at Tether Radio. So shout out, salute to Tether Radio first and foremost. Fair use. Mister. And shout out, salute to our brother Claude Anderson. I just want to give him, his flowers and roses because, he deserves, all the credit in the world. He been telling us to delineate, and get on code based off of lineage, you know what I mean? And he was, one of the front runners, nobody was really pushing this before him, truth be told. Dr. Claude Anderson, thank you for your service. Thank you for the lesson. Dr. Claude Anderson, thank you. You are appreciated. You taught us so many lessons. Economically, you gave us directions. Immigration equals interceptions. FBA, we need receptions. Like Tyreek Hill, I'm just reflecting. You were absolutely right from the inception. Government corruption, Black Americans only know the inception. Government corruption, Black Americans only know exceptions. Excuse me, family. This damn TikTok, that's why I don't like getting on this app too often, because it don't be pausing when you're trying to, talk about the videos and share the videos. But, Dr. Claude Anderson had long told us to delineate, and that immigration policy don't benefit us foundational Black Americans, that other people, come over here and profit off of our hard work and struggle with the civil rights movement, while we left getting the damn bare minimum, the potato chip crumbs that fall out of the bag, you know what I mean? So, I give, all the respect and, big shout out and salute to Dr. Claude Anderson all day, every day, because he's a true rider. He was at the forefront of the delineation movement, and telling us to identify our lineage and stop, being vague, generic Africans, you know, and he was the first one doing this, like I say, you know what I mean? And he was telling us the power of, you know, doing business with our own people, you know, keeping our money in our community, just the same way the Asians, the Chinese, the Arabs do, you know what I mean? And it ain't a damn thing wrong with looking out for the people in your lineage first and foremost, despite what all the naysayers, the haters, and the tethers want to say, you know, because the haters and the tethers and the naysayers, they just want to exploit our foundational Black American lineage. And damn that.
Sir, you are appreciated. Dr. Claude Anderson, thank you for your services. Thank you for the lessons. Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson, thank you for your services. Thank you for the lessons. Dr. Claude Anderson, thank you.
Yeah, family, if you over here on TikTok, make sure you follow the family over there at Tether Radio. They constantly dropping, you know, FBA bangers, you know what I mean? And subscribe to my TikTok too, you know, if you on TikTok, FBA Revolt. Where's the next banger I want to share? You know, family, you know, since we've delineated, you know, and we're acknowledging our FBA lineage, we're shaking all kind of things up, you know. We got to talk of delineation in the mainstream public lexicon, you know what I mean? And we were the main, you know, we were the ones, you know, bringing light and awareness to the fact that, you know, these damn immigrants come over here, these tethers, they run scams and finesses, you know, exploiting our tax-paying, you know, dollars that should be going to foundational Black American brothers and sisters, you know, just as like what's going on up there in Minnesota, you know what I mean? Them uncovering, you know, them tethers were, you know, running finesses through daycare. You know, who the hell does that, you know, running finesses, you know, saying that the resources and aid is going to children, but yet you finessing the bag, you know, that's a bunch of nonsense. You know, now we got everybody on this delineation talk, you know what I mean? And this administration, you know, is clearing them out quick, fast, and in a hurry. So the Tethers' days are numbered in all actuality. You know what I mean? They getting them out of here quick, fast, and in a hurry. Every other week, you know, you see Tethers being deported, you know, on here crying, this, that, and the other. And I don't feel sorry for them, you know, because they come over here with an anti-FBA disposition, you know, and speak down upon our lineage when FBAs are the damn reason, you know, you melanated Tethers are over here to begin with, you know. You came up over here, you know, off of our FBA ancestors pushing for that civil rights, this, that, and the other, you know. So the Tethers' days are numbered, and in all actuality, they know it. You know, it's now the downfall of that Tether, Nicki Minaj, you know, and our good brothers and sisters over there at Tether Radio. They put out a banger on this Tether, Nicki Minaj, and we're gonna get right into that, family. Fair use.
My BBL looks like it smells. Cocaine residue on my nails. My BBL looks like it smells. Cocaine residue on my nails. I'm from Trinidad. Daddy remembered that. I had surgery, so now my booty fat. But it's really stiff, and I can't throw it back. Instead of Pink Friday, what you think about? Pink Friday. Everybody gone berserk. I'm a tether. Of course, I love every.
Yeah, family. Nicki Minaj is a cosplaying Tether, you know, who came up off of, you know, Black American culture, this, that, and the other, you know, and she constantly had a negative, you know, anti-FBA disposition, if you ask me. Everything from trying to go at Lil' Kim, you know, get her career boosted off of, you know, beefing with our FBA sister Lil' Kim, you know, talking, you know, dirt on, you know, talking smack about our sister Beyonce and Hove, this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? Her whole disposition reeks of, being anti-FBA, and she even said some disparaging, remarks about our good FBA brother Malcolm X. When Malcolm X had that shotgun looking out the window, she said, looking ass niggas or something like that, and she tried to retract it, but she ain't retracted nothing because she got a whole FBA disposition. So we're going to hold her to, who she really is. She ain't nothing more than a cosplaying Tether, who came up, over here, and took our whole foundational Black American aesthetic, and her days is numbered, you know what I mean? And her biggest mistake was going up there to Turning Point. That's where she messed up in all actuality, you know what I mean? And she ain't us, the Tethers got to take that L on this one, but let's continue.
I love Erica Kurt. Everybody gon' berserk. I'm a Tether. Of course I love Erica Kurt. Tether Minaj. Tether Minaj. Tether Minaj. My BBL looks like it smells. Cocaine residue on my nails. My BBL looks like it smells. Cocaine residue on my nails.
Yeah, family, I just wanted to share that video. Big shout out and salute to the brothers and sisters over there at Tether Radio. But moving right along, shit just got worse, shit just went from worse to worse for this damn Tether Nicki Minaj, you know what I mean? They got a petition up there on change.org with thousands of signatures, calling for her to be deported back to Trinidad, but I don't feel sorry for her no way because this Tether Nicki Minaj has said, several disparaging remarks about foundational Black Americans, over the years, including, trying to get her career boosted up and started off of, beefing with our sister Lil Kim, talking negatively about our sister Beyonce and Hove, and she ain't nowhere on our sister Beyonce's level. Our sister Beyonce, just touched billionaire status. So big shout out and salute to her, you know what I mean? Because while Nicki Minaj's career is now on the decline, our sister Beyonce's career, been on the up, and it don't look like it's going to let up, so big shout out, salute to our sister, Beyonce, for doing her thing, and not having, to really compromise like that, and be a white ass kisser like Nicki Minaj, going over there to Turning Point USA, because that was her biggest, downfall is going over there to Turning Point USA. She lost the support of her base, the Barbs, because, the people that was rocking with her, a lot of them, not all, but a good bit of them, were from the Skittles community. They ain't like her comments. And, while what she said, about boys being boys, yeah, I agree with that part, but she was just, running deflection and being a professional white ass kisser, to me, if you ask me, because she's sitting there, trying to, cape for the white people, this, that, and the other, sitting up there with Erica Kirk, who Charlie Kirk, she's a reflection of Charlie Kirk, you know what I mean? Because you could bet your last damn dollar that she got his ideology. You got the ideology more often than not of the person that you laying in bed with. And Charlie Kirk wasn't nothing more than a damn, racist, anti-Black white supremacist, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't feel sorry for, Nicki Minaj, downfall, I'm glad they call her for her deportation because get her tether ass out here, the more of these tethers we get deported in all actuality, the more we, pave the way to get foundational Black American lineage-based, things in the public lexicon, because these tethers come over here, not all, but a good bit of them running, scams, finesses, this, that, and the other, just like what's going on up there in Minnesota. And that's, our tax-paying dollar that could be going to FBA brothers and sisters who are out here homeless, struggling, and having a hard time, and might just be trying to get their feet on solid ground. So I don't feel sorry for this, tether, Nicki Minaj. And then she had the nerve, the gall, and the audacity to try to come at our great FBA icon, Malcolm X, when he was standing with that shotty looking out the window, She says something along the lines of, looking ass nigga, which is a bunch of nonsense. Nicki Minaj comes from a culture of failure, and fleeing. And she came up off of, foundational Black American society, and what's going on with Nicki Minaj now, it shows the power of us foundational Black Americans. Because when we say something ain't hot, like we're doing with Nicki Minaj, it fails and flops. Look at the Essence Fest thing. Look at Fat Ho, getting fired from the BET Awards. We've been causing all kind of people to crash out in 2025, FBAs is running the yard and ain't a damn thing anyone or anybody could do about it. They got to put some respect on our lineage and our name, because we got the talks of, even deportation, showing the family that wasn't beneficial to us, when the Democratic plantation was just trying to have us on that hamster wheel that was going absolutely nowhere. This is why, everybody's, like they didn't know that Nicki Minaj was Trinidadian, this, that, and the other. We real FBA brothers and sisters, we been knew she was Trinidadian. It ain't one of us. That's why we were exposing her and on her bumper, because her anti-FBA comments that she was, pushing out there, and things like that. You know what I mean? And now the Democrats, was calling for, so much the Democrats, was that they was with deportation. Now they was with immigration rather, but now they calling for deportation in the case of Nicki, and Nicki ain't nothing but being used as a tool by the Republican Party, you know what I mean, to try to garner a Black support base, but we all know what the system of racism, white supremacy does to their tools. When they done using them, they break them. We causing a lot of ruckus right now as foundational Black Americans. We call the people to crash out and self-destruct. You even look at the Republican Party, they having infighting, and the Democrats is now fighting with Nicki, the Rainbow Gang is fighting with Nicki, you know what I mean? And I love it, you know what I mean? Because we foundational Black Americans, we sitting back, in the free and clear, we ancestral protected, because we protected by our ancestors on our homeland. So all this chaos is going on around us, but we foundational Black Americans, now the damn thing is happening to us, we divinely protected, you know what I mean? So much for, after they deport all of the Africans and Caribbeans, they go to deport you FBAs. No, the hell they not. We FBAs, this is our homeland. We never fled from nowhere. Where the hell can you deport an FBA to? This is our homeland. We built this joint. We in the free and clear. All this chaos is going on, around Nicki, her downfall is at hand. And we FBAs is good. People getting deported left and right. I see videos even in my neck of the woods in PA, the ICE vans hopping out, grabbing people going to the store, the grocery store, coming out of schools, this, that, and the other. That issue ain't happening in the FBAs. We divinely protected. We sitting back, good, and I'm glad they getting deported, because like I said, these people come over here with an anti-Black, anti-FBA, disposition, and speak negatively upon our people. We Akadas, we this, that, and the third. We don't deserve no reparations. Now, when they need us, then they want to cry about having some unity and, call it truth. This is the norm from here on out. Us representing our FBA lineage and us being about lineage based first and foremost. These other groups of people got to hold their own nuts, They can't piggyback off of our achievements and success no more. We making it clear all of our wins and they can have all of their wins. And, when they get a loss, they're going to absorb that too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, family, let's get into some of these videos, where you gotta we're gonna first get into let me see. Let me look at my notes. We first gonna get into, the left wing turning on Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj lost her support base. She went against her support base. And I'm glad she lost her support base because it's just one less damn tether over here in our homeland, that we got to worry about. The more tethers we get out the way, the better it's looking for FBA. And we force their hand to, the talks of delineation. This is how it got in the public lexicon off of us foundational Black Americans, because normally, they would be trying to just run Nicki Minaj under being black, but she can't hide under, blackness no more because we've exposed that. You know what I mean? We made everybody, now they got to say where they from when they get an L. You know what I mean? They can't just say, they black. We checking paperwork, this, that, and the other, because under normal circumstances, they would have tried to run Nicki Minaj under some blackness, but we ain't having that. You know what I mean? She going to take this L.
Over 60,000 people have signed the Change.org petition to deport Nicki Minaj to Trinidad and Tobago. There's another one that has 17,000. I found this one first. I have now signed both. What a week, though. She lost 10 million followers on Instagram. Do you know how hard...
That's something else I forgot to add in there, family. She deleted her Instagram account. This damn Tether lost 10 million Instagram followers. You know what I mean? For going up there to Turning Point USA. Her going up there to Turning Point USA, was just, to kiss white ass, to get in the good graces. Because I believe she ain't even a citizen. She just got like a green card or something that could be taken away from her. She ain't no citizen. So, she just trying to kiss white ass, and the Trinidadians got to hold this L. This is a damn Tether. She ain't of our lineage, you know what I mean? And we're witnessing, in real time, the downfall of Nicki Minaj.
How hard it is to lose that many followers in like days. It was clearly embarrassing to her because she
hide it now. She probably looking out her window for the ICE vans, the fear of the ICE van, because she deleted her whole Instagram account. This chick, is somewhere hiding out, you know what I mean? And we FBAs, we ain't got to hide out, and look over our shoulders, because this is our land, so we in a better position. We divinely protected, by the ancestors here on American soil. All of this chaos is going on around us, but we foundational Black Americans is in the house chilling, out vibing with our family and friends. It's the holiday season, you know what I mean? These damn Tethers is off somewhere secluded, you know what I mean? To where, though, they got to constantly look and peep out windows, you know what I mean? But let's continue.
Did in fact disable the account. Like, there is no IG account for her anymore. You best believe that Turning Point hasn't taken down the videos of her, so it will live on. It's living on in perpetuity, baby. And I think they're gonna...
And I checked it too, family. She deleted her whole Instagram account. The Tether lost damn near 10 million followers, you know what I mean? She lost her base, you know what I mean? She out there, ass naked to fend for herself, and I love it, you know what I mean? Let's get these damn Tethers, out of the USA as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean? Because they come over here, do a lot of nonsense, not all, but a good bit of them, running scams, finesses, taking resources and aid that could be going to FBAs, all of the damn, resources and aid that they finessed up there in Minnesota. Those resources and aid could have been going to FBA reparations, us getting our reparations, the ball rolling with that.
Perpetuity, baby. And I think they're going to actually deport her? No. But the entire point is that everybody's figured out that she is not a citizen. And I don't think she realized that nobody knew that. Nobody.
Yeah, we been knew that. We FBA brothers and sisters, we been telling, putting it out there that she ain't one of us. You know what I mean? And but I did, let me be fair. I did like Nicki Minaj's first album, that Pink Friday. You know what I mean? But after she start, coming on some, anti-FBA nonsense, that's when I, discarded her, because I only liked it that first album anyway, you know what I mean? But once you speak it negatively and trying to paint my people in a negative light, you become my opposition. So yeah, we got to get her out of here. She need to be put on the first thing smoking, and they even got white people signing this particular petition for her to be deported on change.org, and I might sign it, truth be told.
Knew that. And to vocally align yourself with someone who, if they had known that she wasn't a citizen before she got famous, right? Because of course the world is not created equal for rich people, but they would have deported her in a second. Would have sat aghast.
And this woman right here is your left-wing Democrat, pushing for deportation. It just shows you, though, this is why we real FBA brothers and sisters, we know that the right wing or the left wing ain't no friend of ours, and we ain't loyal to either party. We nonpartisan. We got to start, looking at things from who's from a standpoint of who's providing some tangibles, because if the Republican Party provides tangibles in the form of reparations, I'll vote for them tomorrow. The same way with the Democrats. We got to start being nonpartisan, and we real FBA brothers and sisters, we know that we ain't got no allies in the damn white Republican or a white Democrat, because they both wings off the same bird. Here we have it, this white woman right here is a leftist sitting there talking about deportation, you know what I mean, of Nicki Minaj. And it's a good thing. I ain't arguing with it. It just shows you that, these people ain't no allies, of black folks, you know what I mean? But Nicki Minaj went up there, kissing white ass on the platform of Charlie Kirk. So she deserved everything she getting thrown at her at this particular time. She was up there, on Turning Point USA, trying to run deflection for white people and put the cape on for white people. So I don't feel sorry for this chick. Deport her. Get her on the first thing smoking. So, brother, please leave the video play. It's live right now. Well, brother, you can go somewhere else if you don't like the way I do my content. I do my content the way I do my content. It's my platform, with all due respect.
Second, I would have sat aghast listening to her music and going, oh, thank heavens she's not in the country anymore. Go sign the petitions on change.org. Over 60,000 people have signed a change.org petition to deport Nicki.
Moving right along. This is a tether right here that says Nicki Minaj ain't going to go nowhere. She going to go somewhere. She done lost her protection. She ain't got no FBA support base. The barbs done turned on her. You know what I mean? This woman out here, ass naked.
You know what I think is funny? They now have a...
Now, this dude right here, family, I seen him on Jubilee. He ain't nothing more than a tether, he's a Republican shield, too, if I remember correctly. He's a tether, and he was speaking a lot of, anti-FBA rhetoric on the Jubilee when they had that other tether on there, Amanda Seales. He was, talking some, anti-FBA nonsense. So keep that in mind before I let this video play.
You know what I think is funny? They now have the left, the side who hates deportations, that wants illegals, open borders, that wants illegals here. They're such hypocrites. They're such demonic, evil hypocrites, right? So the side that says, oh, I don't want anybody deported, and how dare ICE, and we hate ICE, and we need to defund ICE, and ICE, is now 1,500 people have signed a petition to have Nicki Minaj deported, which she's an American citizen and has been in this country forever and has done great.
She ain't no damn citizen, so stop trying to, speak up, in regards to Nicki Minaj, because that's your damn fellow tether. This dude ain't nothing but a tether, and a Republican shield at that.
This country forever has done great things for this country as far as her money she's given and to different things that people don't even know about, and has spoken up for Africans. I think it's just hilarious. I think it's the funny that these hypocritical people who all of a sudden...
We don't give a damn if she's speaking up for Africans. This chick is still a damn tether. She's anti-FBA to the core. You know what I mean? And the fact that, another thing I forgot to add in there is that when our brother Michael B. Jordan tried to start some liquor company, using some name, I forget the name of it, and this damn tether Nicki Minaj was, the first one to say that we don't want you to do that. This belongs to us and our culture, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, miss me with that, trying to cape for her. You just trying to cape for her because that's your fellow tether.
People who all of a sudden they didn't believe in deportations, but now they believe in deportations when it comes to Nicki Minaj. I just think it's so funny, and I think they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I think it's sickening, and she ain't going nowhere. And what if she did that makes her?
Yeah, she going somewhere, because she got, it's damn near thousands of people, on this petition, pushing to get her deported. So she going somewhere. We getting her out the paint, you know what I mean? And we ain't going to stop there. We getting all of these damn tethers out the mix so it can, pave the way for us FBA to get, lineage-based justice and the things we need to get for our people to get our leg up.
What if she did that makes her deserve these deportations? What did she do? She spoke her mind. She stood for Christians in Africa. Or she stood with Erica Curtin have a...
This chick, the damn tether, Nicki Minaj is anti-FBA, you know, she's a professional white ass kisser. What you mean, you know, what has she done? You know what I mean? And she said several disparaging things about, you know, our brother Malcolm X, you know, tried to, you know, build her career off of beefing with Lil Kim, you know, speaking negatively upon Beyonce and Hov, you know, so this chick don't mean us no good, you know what I mean? So you get her out of here, you know, as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a damn, you know.
America Curtin have a conversation. She says she likes the president of the United States. She doesn't hate the president. That's all she did. Let boys be boys. So that was so controversial that she deserved to be. Apparently, she deserves a petition to go back to Trinidad, right? From these losers that have nothing better else to do with their time. These evil, wicked, demonic people where you're not allowed to speak your mind unless you agree with their narrative. You're not allowed to say your truth. You know what I think is funny?
Yeah, family, but moving right along. Yeah, then you got this. I got to go over here to. Then you got, you know, Luke. You know, that's why I said, you know, everybody turning on everybody. Meanwhile, we foundational Black Americans, we in the free and clear. We good. You know what I mean? We ancestral protected. We on our homeland. You know, and everything is, you know, moving and flowing in order. You know, the way we need it to go. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing, and I love it. You know, but you got you know, this Tether, goat mouth Tether, you know, Uncle Luke, you know, he's, you know, coming at Nicki Minaj, you know, for going up there to Turning Point, you know, I don't got a problem with that. But then he tried to, you know, tie everything, you know, to trying to throw us FBAs under the bus, you know, which is a bunch of nonsense. But we going to get into that. Let me go over here to IG. Family, if you're new to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Damn, it kicked me out. Damn shit, you bear with me, family. Bear with me just for a second. Bear with me, family. This damn technology be getting on my nerves. What's up with this shit? Hopefully it lets me in. The hell, man? Yeah, family, I don't know what's going on. It ain't trying to let me log into my Instagram right now, but yeah, but the long and short of it is, you know, that Uncle Luke's, you know, goat mouth, you know, tether behind, you know, sitting up there, you know, saying, you know, well, you know, something about, you know, FBAs, you know, they don't like black people, you know, uh, you making it bad, and you know, by going up there, you know, to Turning Point USA, you know, and she shouldn't have went up there to Turning Point USA, but she getting everything she deserves, you know. But then he tried to, you know, tie it into, you know, us foundational Black Americans. You know what I mean? All roads lead to FBA. You know, he tried to throw shade to us FBAs, and I didn't particularly like that. But we done, you know, got on, you know, Uncle Luke's tether behind. We already done got on his bumper. You know what I mean? So he's a non-factor. You know, he just keeping FBA on the mouth to try to, you know, stay relevant, this, that, and the other. And he ain't nothing but a Democratic shield. You know what I mean? So I wanted to, you know, show you the video so I could break it down, you know, with y'all. But my Instagram, you know, sometimes this technology don't be cooperating with me, you know, and I ain't too, you know, tech savvy, you know, myself. So yeah, I'm a end it there, family. You know, I didn't want to be on here too long anyway, you know. And it didn't let me, show y'all what I wanted to show y'all regarding the Tether Uncle Luke. You know what I mean? So if y'all new to the channel, family, make sure y'all like and subscribe, and stay tapped in with your boy, and have a safe holiday out there. And if you're celebrating it, be safe, family. You know what I mean? And take care of yourselves out there. FBA salute and peace to the family. I'm out.